Really excited about it.
Let you know when Bill's having, well, his cows start.
Okay, so it's 7:30. Welcome, everyone. Regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen. First thing to do is approve the minutes of the 19th of March.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes from the regular meeting of March 19th.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Oh, look good.
Yes, thank you, Jane. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Next we have communications and announcements. Jane, do you have any announcements?
There was a baby cow born today at the farm behind the library. I don't know the exact
Ted
name.
Gracie.
Jen Gracie.
Jen Gracie
Yeah.
Farm, cutest little cow in the whole world.
So we welcome our
Right here in Cornwall.
We welcome our latest Cornwall resident to town. Thank you, Jane, for sharing the event. Let's see, what else? Communications, announcements, a lot going on in Little Town. WTIC radio 1080 from Hartford is going to be in Cornwall, specifically at the Cornwall Market from 7:30 to 8:30 this Friday, April 5th. The morning show will be broadcasting live. This is the third town that they've done it from, and people want to stop by and say hello. It'll be an interesting event. I've reached out to some local businesses, and the school might have some students come up just to say hello. So that is another event, unusual. First crop of daffodils are up here between the library and the town hall, thanks to the garden club. So that's a nice sign of spring. Let's see, another just a announcement that we're having issues with the septic system down at the Cornwall Bridge Firehouse, so we're working on that. We're trying to get a washing machine for firefighter gear installed, and then we went and explored the septic system and found it was a little bit undersized. So anyway, that will be something that we'll be addressing in the coming months. Any other communications announcements from the board?
COVID vaccine clinic, April 24th, which is a Wednesday from 11 to 4. At the Cornwall Town Hall.
Great. All right, any other announcements?
Solar eclipse, be
Solar
ready.
eclipse,
Yeah,
be ready.
shield your eyes.
Yeah,
My birthday.
on your birthday. Yeah, what time of day?
What did they say? I think-
3:30 to
I think,
4:30.
yeah, it was around 3:30, something like that for Connecticut, so.
Okay.
We're gonna get like 90%
Enough,
enough.
yeah.
Make it, yeah.
Great. All right, so then, additions to the agenda, are there any additions? So our first item is, let's see, the budget, next year's budget coming up. We did have a meeting with the Board of Finance about 10 days ago. We had a lot of handouts from our finance department, trying to give a realistic picture where the town is financially. And the bottom line is that the town's, the selectmen's budgets and the school budgets are up significantly. The capital budget is up. The good news is that we retired some debt service from the school. So without that debt service, the increases would have been 7%. With the increases, the totals are about 4%. And the other part of this is the town's financial reserves have been somewhat depleted by the storms that we've had and the repairs we had to make. So the Board of Finance asked the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Education to cut 1% from their proposed budget, if possible. I have outlined a few places where we could cut. The Board of Finance is meeting again this Thursday night to hear from the Board of Ed and the Board of Selectmen on how we're doing. And then there's a budget hearing on the 19th, Friday night, where we will have this posted, whatever the Board of Finance votes on Thursday night to come up to present to the town on the 19th. And so that will be the hearing, and the Board of Finance can adjust again ahead of the town meeting on the 17th of May. So let's see, so that's the rough outline of where we are at this point. I did send out some of the proposed cuts. They come up to about $21,000 total. We didn't hit the $24,000 target. What I tried to do was suggest some things that would spread out these cuts over many or several departments and not take it all from one place. I highlighted especially budgets that were requesting significant increases over this year's budget.
Do we ever ask the commissions or the organizations, we ever go back to them and ask if they can cut from their budget? Even if it's been the same amount for the past 5 years?
We haven't gone back and asked people to cut, and again, we could, it's not saying we can't. This is sort of more or less our discretion on. There are some things that are obviously discretionary, such things as contributions to nonprofits. We legally don't have to give money to a lot of the nonprofits that we do, with the exception being this building, the library. When the library moved out of their old space, which is now just used for the town offices, we agreed to give them substantial support every year. Same way when the child center built the child center on town property at Gannett Park, we agreed that the town would be a major contributor to that organization. Now, could we go back and those are the two biggest places. Could we go back and ask them to trim their budget further? We could, but that's more unusual than, say, trimming a request that's substantially over what we had this year. And it's tough because everything that we presented in the budget had its justification,
Right.
Especially for those groups who were all doing really good, important work. We were able to give substantial aid to our nonprofits, perhaps more than the other towns did for the ARPA during the ARPA years. And some of them are facing some unusual circumstances, and everybody's facing inflationary pressures. Some of our operating budgets, like say the transfer station or the fire department, are under the same pressures that we have. They've sort of capped their budget. I think we may, depending on how we do with disposing of our garbage, we may have under budgeted that because they're looking at a 10% increase and we didn't substantially increase that. Now we've been working trying to avoid that 10% increase, but there's this inflationary pressures on all organizations. We saw that even with the school budget, with wage increases for school bus drivers and everybody. Ours is more than zero. It's more than 3%. A lot of towns are doing it. So it's a valid question. We do have discretion on what we do with some of these things. And going through them, so we go to the latest handout. There were some things that needed to be maybe highlighted. We did the or I did suggest a reduction in the highway department for sand and salt. We've been running ahead of that amount. So we could reduce those.
And I'm guessing the anticipated 63,000 for snow removal is mainly because we have to take some of it for the landslide and stuff, that reallocated.
Let me get to that page. So your question is that line 76? The
Yes,
snow removal, we have, at one point, we were up to 75,000, we did. In years past, we used more salt, and one year, I believe we spent over $150,000. Out of that line, we had to go back to the town to do that, and because we process our own sand. We probably spend less per mile than any other town. I don't think any other town, if you look at the on line 676, we spent $40,000 on snow removal last year, which includes plow blades and sand and salt. I don't think any other town around is spending that little money, because again, we use sand and salt, and we process our own sand. So, and again, we could have a severe winter and get buried. $2,000 probably isn't gonna make a lot of difference one way or the other. So it seemed like we could do that, understanding with all these things, if we go over, we can go back to the town, the taxpayers. Or the Board of Finance first and ask for more money at a town meeting, the way we are going to be going to them on April 19th. I also found some areas, to cut. We did cut the Cornwall affordable housing in half. Originally, that was $5,000. That's for a fund that is yet to be set up. So again, that's unfortunate because it's a big priority, but it's also important to the money has to come from somewhere. And again, we did cut the Child Center, Historic Society. Those were the main groups that asked for more money. The Greenwoods, the Service Bureau, Shore Service, again, cuts. We did suggest to cut the Park and Rec because the budget amount was high, the request was high, and that can come anywhere out of the Park and Rec budget. But again, it's no reflection on the work that's done. It's all good work.
question for you, Gordon.
Yeah.
Line number 113,
Yeah,
it's fish.
fish.
Does that program exist?
Um,
I mean, I didn't think it existed at the moment.
yeah, I'll have to take a look and see exactly what that.
I'm just wondering where the money goes to,
Yeah.
who requests it, or.
Right, I don't have all the backup documents here, but I'd have to take a look and see where that's from. We can get information on that for the $200.
And then I had asked at the Cornwall Affordable Housing Commission about cuts to the line number 97. How we had started out with 5,000. Cut it back to.
Yeah,
100.
well,
What we thought what we would use the money for. And I don't think there was really. I don't think that anything was decided or anything like
yeah,
that.
so what this is sort of seed money. We did vote the town did vote last fall to establish affordable housing commission, and part of the understanding was that they would have money to increase affordable housing in the town.
Right,
Now, we had grand ideas that we were gonna put $10,000 in there based on what some other towns did, and that is whittled down to $2,500 over the course of this.
I just didn't know if we wanted to drop it down to 2,000 until we figure out exactly what we wanna use it for.
well, it's up to some of that commission
Okay.
to figure it out, and we will have to adopt an ordinance to establish that fund, so that fund is new. So I feel, and again, they're gonna do some fundraising.
Right, and I know we want to do some advertising, you know.
Yeah, they have a grant they can do some public relations with. I mean, hopefully they can do some grant writing and grow that fund so that they can actually do some site investigation development. I think that's one of the big things, and that's less than we'd hope, but the biggest thing is try to establish the fund, which we would bring to a town meeting in May. So part of our town meeting, we have a second call into the budget, we would have establishing that fund. So at least they can fundraise and start with that. So. Also did drop the food and fuel fund. There is quite a bit of money in that fund. It is obviously necessary work, but we are in better shape than we were before the town joined the food share program, which has cut a lot of expenses by giving us a dependable source of food. Did put in there the to also cut the registrar's request.
Are we getting any state aid for that?
We're getting state aid for this year, but as of this morning, when they were doing the voting, they think they're gonna be over this year, and there's no, as of last word, there's no guarantee that we're gonna get state aid next year, and there's no guarantee that they're gonna have the ability to do some relief from the numbers of people they have working. They had, I think, approximately 40 votes cast. Granted, this isn't a big election, this is a primary that has winners already announced, but they had 40 votes cast over 4 days. So that's like 1 per hour, which seems like not a very efficient system for a small town. So
Right.
there's a big push to make that system more efficient. And I think it's great to have more access to voting, but it seems like it's overkill with the responsibilities of having that many people. So hopefully we'll be able to work with that somewhat. The registrars felt that just doing this will probably take them over this year's budget, even with the aid. And they have another potential primary in the summer, and then they have the federal election. So they have a couple of big ones coming up, so we'll have to see. And again, that may be something that we have to go back and get budget transfers to cover that amount. But I think it is good to keep the pressure on to make that process as efficient as possible.
Especially for a small town too.
Especially, there should be some difference. I mean, also on this, everybody got $10,000, the city of Hartford got $10,000. And so did the town of Cornwall, so. It doesn't make a lot, so whatever problems we have, they have 10 times as many, but they probably have many more voters. So,
But I was happy to hear how many voters we did get though. It wasn't, at least it wasn't
it wasn't,
nothing. Better than Vera said, was it Sprague? Town of Sprague,
right?
I guess had only gotten one early voter.
One early voter. So I think once the numbers come back, and I think statewide, the early vote accumulated 14,000 votes. Out of, I mean, there's usually 600 or 700,000 votes cast in an election.
Right.
So, and it does tell you, I'm not sure how many they got today, they didn't get, it wasn't lines out the door today either, but again, it seems like there's different ways to do it, and we'll just have to adjust it the best we can with our state obligations. So those are the ones I came up with, which would keep us going. We didn't hit the $24,000 mark, but it's close it gets the point. I mean, I think we are going to be asking the town taxpayers to do a significant tax increase, and so we've done our best to keep the spending down. At the same time, we're asking for that, and part of the new day that we have upon us is that we may be in the same situation next year. So we just have to run things as efficiently as we can and tell people this is what's happening. So, and again, part of this budget push is the high school numbers are going up, but the other thing is that we have put in $100,000 for storm emergencies, dealing with our wild weather, which is something that people are suggesting towns do now, because not all of our emergencies will be covered by FEMA. So, and that will only hopefully happen for a period of time, but as the weather seems to be getting more extreme, it could be a yearly event. So that's sort of where we're at. Does it make sense? Any questions? There's plenty of questions.
Only other question I have
Yeah,
is, we pay for the Cornwall Volunteer Fire Department's physical exams and
Yeah.
incentives and stuff like that.
yes.
We're at a good amount of volunteers. Has there ever been a time where we've had to like cap it because of just the finances to, not that I would ever wanna cap it.
What, as far as how many volunteers?
So how many volunteers, because you have the service incentive and you have the physical exams and.
Yeah, actually, the numbers of volunteers did dip. We probably 8 years ago, we would have 35 people eligible for the incentive program. We were down in the 20s, and then we've gone back up. I think the last 2 years, it's been a good training program and a good interest shown. So we're up to probably 32, 33 people, which, if you think of, the other thing that's happening too is the call volumes are going up,
Right.
especially ambulance.
Right.
And the severity of the calls are going up. So it's not just, a Band-Aid, it's a serious life thing. So, and I think James would know more than I do, but we've had some days where we've had, 3 serious calls, or this weekend we had 2 serious calls simultaneously. So our ambulance was already out, and we were lucky that we had a backup, another group to go to deal with another serious incident. So, so you have that. So you have increasing call volumes, and then you have a limited amount of people to do that. And then, I think the other thing too is you're seeing most of the towns around us are going to their towns and asking that for money to help staff their departments.
Yeah.
And that's a bit of a slippery slope, because once you start having to pay people,
And you have to pay.
you have to pay more people because who would go and volunteer in the middle of the night. Although a lot of paid people are just during the day when people are working somewhere. So that can easily, so if we have somewhere, so there, I mean,
So it sounds like what we have right now is a nice amount, and even if we got another 10 more people, it wouldn't
Yeah.
necessarily. affect
for
us.
the little amount it cost us for the physical exams and the in-service incentive, that's basically $2,000 per person.
Yeah. That's nothing.
That's nothing, it's nothing. I mean, I was thinking the amount that we actually, I mean, the other thing that is expensive, the town does, down to our next thing, the town does pay for a lot of the apparatus. The town does own 2 buildings that they have to maintain for the fire and ambulance service. But just taking the operating budget, and the town does pay the maintenance, but just the operating budget is $130,000. Some other towns are asking that just as an increase for staffing for 1 year. So they're running all the rigs, and I know there are people that are spending 3 or 4 nights a week I mean, the amount of time that just gets volunteered just to do stuff is still amazing, so. And in fact, it's probably increasing, so I think it's still a tremendous value to the town, and especially. I mean, somebody roughly calculated if the town had to fully replace these volunteer fire and ambulance would be easily $1 million. I mean, it would be a third of our budget or something, and so it's a huge savings to the town, so. Yeah, so again, appreciate them being able to hold the costs down, as well as they do, and again, just even with, communication technology changes and just radios are expensive and just all this stuff is, there's more mandates, probably for a good, I'm not a big fan of mandates, but there are a lot of health and safety things, like washing gear, because people go to a scene, especially a fire, and they can have carcinogens in their gear.
Right.
So now we're gonna have.
You don't want them taking it home.
You don't wanna take it home in the back of somebody's car and drive around with it, so we're working on all of that, so. A lot of demands on our public funds, but I think it's a pretty good balance of everything. I believe the school has met and have some suggestions on how they may be able to reduce their budget, so again, it's a pretty cooperative effort, nobody gets everything they want, but I think working together, we can still keep things in place and moving forward. So, any other thoughts on the budget?
No, it's gonna be a tight year, but I think all of these adjustments are quite sensible. I think there was a good job kind of spreading them out. And then kind of factoring in some of the nonprofits and some of the ARPA funds, we've dispersed in the past. And then trying to kind of offset some of the increases too, so I think it looks good.
Yep. Okay, so is there a motion to adopt these cuts and send them off to the Board of Finance? For their meeting Thursday night? Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, thank you. It's a challenge to make it all fit, but I think this is good. A good effort, and I think the Board of Finance and the school board are all working hard to try to make it work. So let's see, so then we again have a hearing coming up on the 19th of April. Everybody in town is welcome to come, and the Board of Finance will adopt a budget for presentation on the 19th, probably Thursday night, and then that will be up on the website so people can see where things are at. And then, so there's a hearing on the 19th, and then there's a town meeting on the 17th of May. So, and we need to also put on that call the housing fund establishment, so. So a lot going on for those meetings and things. So fire truck bid specs, we have received a bid specification from the fire department, and we wrote up a invitation to bid, which goes on front of it. Somewhere, and so. So it's getting to that point. We still need to get some information from the fire department as far as some vendors, if people have vendors they think are qualified and have good products to be included on the bid list. And we'll need some contact information, and if there's any small equipment or anything that will need to be included, and I want to make sure that the insurance provisions in the quote are adequate, so I will review that with the town attorney. And then we'll be ready to go to bid now. Yep.
Any reason why we don't allow emails or faxes?
Because I think we want written copies delivered on the desk, and because we've heard of that happening. People say, "Oh, well, I emailed you something and it got lost, it went to spam." We like to have things like either through the mail, we receive it, we stamp it, receive,
Yeah.
because that that did happen, that somebody was late to a bid opening, they said, oh, I got a better bid, blah, blah, blah. But if you have that time, it's gotta be delivered, mailed and received, and then a lot of times we'll get back, because sometimes we don't want a bid lost in cyberspace.
Okay.
And that's sort of standard procedure, which most of these places have couriers, or they fax it overnight by, registered mail. And then Jane will stamp it when it arrives on the desk. So, and we still need to fill in some dates, but it's sort of, and we do have the right, it's a big question as far as how much this will cost or not. We have, consulted the Sourcewell Consortium, and they have given us, and I think I sent you a copy of the list of national manufacturers of fire equipment, and a lot of them have local vendors and dealers. And we may have some to put on top of that. But right there's the bid will go out to 13 vendors, which are most of the major manufacturers. So, and we'll see what comes back. They may say, this is $1.5 million. They may, hopefully we'll see some competition and get something that we can afford.
Yeah.
And we have, I think the prices are good for 90 days. So we have time to try to research it and make sure everything's solid. So then, is there a motion then to go out to bid for a new fire truck?
Yes.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, so we'll fill in the dates, we'll fill in some contacts, and then once we get that, we will.
When we send it out,
Yeah.
how long do we give them? Like, do we give them a month or something like that?
Yeah,
or-
generally a month.
Okay.
And then their bids have to be good for 90 days.
Okay.
So it's a process, but
So you're gonna meet with
I'm gonna talk to John and just and he knows what
cross the Ts and dot the
yeah,
Is?
knows what the checklist is. Talk to the town attorney, make sure this is all, the town is as thoroughly protected as we can with the insurance requirements and everything, so. Should be good.
Sounds
All
good.
right, so stay tuned.
Yeah.
All right, so all those in favor?
Fine.
Aye. Okay, thank you. So road spring resurfacing schedule, I sent out some more paper. Been busy with this. Jim has been working with Seymour Sealing, who's done our roads for several years. The history is that probably 5-6 years ago, we switched from doing a sand seal in the summer to a stone chip seal in the late spring. The towns are restricted with the emulsions, commonly known as oil, that they can use depending on the time of year as it gets in the summer, because they release some VOCs. They like the work to be done not in the summertime for the high or octane, that's not the right word, but oil. So what we found was the lighter oil was a latex base that was sort of like black paint on the roads, and we like something that's more gooier, a heavier tar that will go and seal the cracks more like a crack sealer than a paint. Because especially after winter, this winter, most of the roads have cracks, and then the idea is to put down a heavier oil with the stone and really, and then it gets rolled into the cracks. And that's a really good way, I think, of keeping our, roads solid. So we try to do about 1/5 of the roads every year. This year, I think we're doing about 11 miles.
Question,
Yes,
some of the roads, like along the edges, like on Hot Boy Hill Road, is
Yeah.
kind of eroding away.
yeah.
Will we be able to put some pavement down
Yeah.
before oiling the road?
Well, we'll try to get there if, it's supposed to snow next week, so we're I believe we have to get this oiling done by the end of April. And we put the heavier stuff. We can always go back and fill in. Ideally, it'd be nice to get that all done. I know with all these roads that there is gonna be constant patching that goes on. We try to get them swept and ready to go before that happens. But the other problem too is I'm not sure when the asphalt plants open up, so this time of year we have to use a cold patch. And that doesn't hold up as bad. It's going bad. It's better to go back later and try to hit the edges.
That's fine, I just want.
Yeah. It's
Want it to be patched before we
Right.
get 3 inches of rain and it makes it even worse.
right. So the roads will be Town Street, which is almost I think it's 4 miles long, Hawkboy Hill, Hoover Place, Bradford Road, Lake Road, Johnson Road, Hall Road, Todd Hill would be that section, so the northeast corner of town, Town Street, and part of Town Street, part of Lake Road are actually old state roads, so they're wider than some of the other town roads. You can see there, it says the Town Street of 26. Well, that's in parts of it, like,
So it's like an average?
that's supposed to be an average, but, once you turn onto Lake Road, that's where it stays wide, that's when it's town. Yeah, so, anyway, so Jim keeps a running total of how much they put down.
And so this includes kind of everything from all the stuff that's.
The prep and the sweeping up.
Then we just have to supply some staging
Yeah,
area, loader, a couple other things.
yeah, so they bring their stone into these, sand and salt shed down at the garage, so they load from there. So they start, combining, they'll start bringing that in probably next week. So yeah, it's basically a finished product installed, so, so it's pretty good, so.
Are they sweeping right now?
No, they'll probably start fairly soon though, it'll probably take them 3 days. They have started to blow off some of the roads where there's not a lot of houses to get the sand off that way. And again, sometimes they do that ahead of this oiling to keep the surface in good condition and take the oil. But to repave a mile of road cost over $1 million. You can see we're resurfacing over 10 miles of road for $168,000. So it's I think it's a really good, effective treatment for your roads, because it would take us a long time. It would take us 60 years to get around to repave all the roads. So anyway, and these guys have been good company to do it. So I make a motion that we would, and also this early oil is less expensive. It's about 40% less than the summertime.
Less expensive and better.
Yes. Yeah, the heavier stuff. So I make a motion that we retain Seymour Sealing to pave or to resurface the roads that are listed in their proposal pending authorization at the town meeting on April 19th.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. And I think it's a big benefit too, not having Jane get all the calls in August when we were oiling. We'd have these dry sessions and these dust clouds of sand going around the hottest time of year. We're just getting this over with is really good.
Yeah.
So it shifted things to the better, I think.
Yeah.
And then we can sweep up some of the loose stone and use it again next year if it's loose stone. Okay, so that's our work on our spring resurfacing West Cornwall retaining wall. We are set for to go on the 15th of April we have a pre-construction meeting set up with Yield Industries on the 8th, which is next Monday at 9 o'clock, if you folks want to come.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock at West Cornwall site, to go over the construction sequence again, coordinate with, it's good to have the road foreman also be the assistant fire chief, because we want to coordinate with the fire and ambulance as far as coverage, and remind our friends in Falls Village of mutual aid, so they've agreed to come down and cover if we have problems on the other side. So, and I think he also said if they're working and we have a real fire or something, they can probably move things out of the way, given some time, but it takes a while to get everything picked up and the Jersey barriers moved and other things. So anyway, it'll be good to get people together and launch that project. I went by today, there's still plenty of water in the brook, even on before this rain. So I think dewatering will be a bit of a challenge. They had to put a small dam on the roadside and pump it dry and put all the water on the other side of the brook. And there's not a big channel there anyway. So it will be a tricky little piece of work. Engineer Steve McDonald will be there coordinating on Monday. So anyway, we're set to go ahead, and Jane has worked on some notifications for the residents on the far side of the bridge. So we're gonna actually hand out flyers to them if they have any questions. So we'll do that once we set the go time, and we'll publicize this heavily. There'll be signs up, I believe, starting next week to tell people the bridge closure. And he's optimistic that 2 work weeks and 1 weekend should do it if everything stays high and dry.
2 weeks and 1 weekend, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So the goal is to to have it a 10-day project, but we're probably telling people a little bit more. Don't want to promise, but that's our goal. Let's see, so that's then. So then we have a re-sign of our town meeting call, because we talked to our friends at the school and the gathering room is not available for the town meeting. And so we're gonna have it here. And this would be an in-person meeting, town meeting. So not be a virtual meeting. Okay, now. So much fun. This is a returner notice which says we will promise this gets put in an appropriate newspaper. Okay. Trees by the railroad tracks. It's been an interesting month for town railroad relations. Three different segments, or even 4 different segments of our evolving relationship with the railroad. There is, as we've heard, legislation that would be more stringent on plans and approvals that's working its way through the legislature. So this would say the towns would have to approve their spray plan and give more authority to the towns over the herbicide issue. So that's one part of our relationship. Second part is that I did get a call from the railroad to identify the dead trees that had, in my mind, been killed by the overspray. Long River Road is the primary area, north of house number 360 and north of the railroad markers 37, near West Cornwall and then up near the Falls Village line. So they thanked us very much. They apparently are going to do a tree program, and they've got some very big trees to take down. I'm guessing they may have gotten some federal safety grant to, in the same way we've got some grant money to protect our roads by taking down the trees. They maybe got some grant money to take down their dead trees. But anyway, we cooperated with them to work on that. Another area of mutual concern and overlap, there is a initiative in the region to see if some of our garbage can be hauled by train instead of by truck. So already the Historic Railroad does haul a lot of demolition material out of southern Connecticut to faraway places. And there has been some word put out from area first selectmen of is it possible to have a siding or something in this area where we could load the region's garbage and even think about Western Connecticut. So
Do we have any spots?
yeah, apparently I mean, there's a bunch of sightings that are there in the northwest corner. So some towns are looking at that. So that's interesting. And then I did see one of my friends from DOT was out looking at train culverts, and I did bring up the idea of if they are doing projects, redoing one of the culverts that's been problematic down in West Cornwall on the south side of the village that floods out down back towards the railroad station. We talked about trying to straighten a culvert out that now takes a 90-degree turn, gets jammed up, and then floods out part of West Cornwall. So there may be an opportunity, and we put some money in this budget to buy a new culvert to go underneath the road if they can work with the railroad, straighten the thing out, have it go directly in the river as opposed to wash out the road, the railroad tracks and everything else. So we've got hopefully DOT and the railroad all on the same page working to make things better in some ways. So it's sort of interesting how things evolve. So so stay tuned. So hopefully those trees will come down in a deliberate fashion as opposed to a storm. So we are working with them on that. Also been working with Marina Kocheby, the director of Hammond Beach, on updating things. She is interested in having an assistant director this year, splitting the salary that's in the budget with a possible successor. Micah Matsadara has approached her as he's interested, and he was head lifeguard last year. So again, I think having two people, trained, able to do stuff is good. He is in school. We're trying to figure out how long this would happen. I mean, would he be available for more than 1 year? He's committed to 2 years. So we'll see. So there's some changes potentially there. I think it's good to have Marina stay on, and because it's has its own little complexities and things that have to be done on a calendar. So that's one thing that we're working on, and we are advertising for lifeguards. So it's a competitive market out there.
Lifeguards, anyone that's interested, should they call the collections office?
Yeah, they have to be certified. There are some courses at the Y in Torrington, lifeguard courses available, but we aggregate accept the applications in our office. I think, is there a deadline for applying, James?
Yep, it's May 15th.
May 15.
Can you email me an application, or should we pick it up?
I can email too.
Okay, because I know a lot of people that are interested. so-
Yeah, it's a good job, good summer job.
Yeah.
Good crew down there. Yeah, so anyway, making progress. Hopefully It'll be beach weather soon. After the snow. Yep. Okay. Public comments, I see we have some visitors. Bruce Bennett, Kevin Fisher. Any comments? Just checking out what we're up to? How are you doing? Need to unmute Bruce and Kevin if you wish to speak.
Yeah. I don't have anything. I'm really impressed by all the detail. It's really exciting to hear about all the changes, and so I don't have anything. But Bruce might have something about the trains.
Hi,
Yeah, hi Bruce.
Hi.
Bruce, trains and trees, that's Bruce.
Yeah, I'd like to bring you up to date about what we've been doing with the Housatonic Herbicide Working Group. We've petitioned the legislatures to arrange for a meeting with the railroad, and that meeting is going to happen on the 15th of this month. In the legislation, of course, we had been pushing legislation through with the help of both legislators concerning our concern of the use of herbicides on the railroad. We've been wanting them to adopt the Massachusetts regulations, which are much more strict than Connecticut. Up until this time, they have refused to even speak with us or allow us in a meeting when they discuss this issue with any first selectman or with the legislature. So finally, we've gotten through, and they are actually going to sit down and speak with us at that point. Gordon, can I assume that you've gotten an invitation for that? This just happened today, though, so you may not have heard about it yet.
Yeah, the Pony Express hasn't gotten Cornwall Village yet, so, but I did get a heads up that I was gonna be on the guest list, so that's fine, that's good. I like the fact that we've got all these points now that we're working together on things after so many years of not necessarily working together, so who knows, every day is a new day down here, so I think there is a lot of, again, if I know it's nothing to do with the herbicide, but if we have to take our garbage out of state, doing it by rail is a lot better than doing it by truck. So again, we'll look for the common ground where it may not be obvious that there is, so.
Right, we're all for, as you know, we're all for the railroad. I mean, we are not anti-railroad, nor are we anti-herbicides. What we're just looking for is better control and a better way to do things. So that they're finally going to speak with us is encouraging, and we'll see where that goes.
Good, all right, we will mark that on the calendar. We'll start the retaining wall and have a railroad meeting at the same time.
Perfect.
All roads lead to Cornwall, that's good. Yeah, great.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So true.
All right, very good. Thank you both.
And
Yeah.
thank you all for all your work on this. Thank you.
Yeah, and it is interesting when we did talk about community resiliency, and so for the first time, we are putting some money aside in the town budget for, bad weather. I mean, we do that for winter storms, and we have forever, but this is acknowledges that the climate is changing and that it's having a financial impact on this town as being, we're probably the hilliest and probably have the most infrastructure, most miles of roads and most bridges per capita of any town. We're always like to claim our titles, but unfortunately it's expensive. Not what we're paying for, but anyway, all right, good to see you.
Thank you.
Gordon, can I ask one more question?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
what they're going to do is they're going to take down all those trees that we assumed was herbicide damage along the roads.
Especially on the railroads, they made it clear they can't go outside their railroad right away. But the town has actually taken down some of those big pine on River Road. So most of the ones now are closer to the railroad tracks.
So they're only taking down trees on their right of way, not on private property.
I think, but there are some that are across, just outside the right of way that are leaning towards there, so. Part of the group of 360 River Road North is probably not in the right of way, but they're clearly dead and they're heading towards the track.
And they'll take those down.
Don't know.
Okay,
Still,
Being
Still-
updated.
still in process. Yeah,
got it. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Anyone else?
I do.
Yes, Michelle.
Unless Riley has a question. I don't want to cut Riley.
No questions for me. Go ahead, Michelle.
Park and Rec things coming up. We have a busy schedule. There is fencing. I know you can't see that from here. We had to shift it a couple of times, so these dates have changed, but we're set on these now, a couple of different spring break conflicts. So it will start Monday, April 22nd, and then it'll run 4 Mondays after that. We have sessions for kids and adults. $125 for 4 sessions, and those 4 sessions equipment is included. After that, you need to provide your own equipment. So if you'd like to sign up, go to our website and do that. We also have a fabulous,
So, just the adults are available now. but you-
oh, just the kids are cool. Breaking news, our kid classes are full. Great, yay. Clean Up Cornwall, you'll start to see these really cool posters that we have going for the day. C&M Carding Solutions partnering with us. It is on Saturday, April 27th. We'll be meeting, Footfield will be our base this year rather than the village. If you would like a safety kit, the C&M Carding is providing that. You can get a safety vest, some gloves and bags. And come on out, have some snacks. Cornwall Association is partnering with us as well, providing some refreshments. The dumpster will be there until 5 p.m., but the dumpster is only for trash that is picked up along the roadsides. You may not put your household trash in the dumpster, please. And thank you. I think that's it for that event. We will be out there from 9 to 1 handing out kits, but you may pick up trash as much as you would like. The other events we have coming is the Goodspeed Opera House. There's a number of 3 dates. You can go to our website to sign up. It's $100 per show. You get a show down at the Goodspeed Opera House, lunch and transportation, meeting at Footfield. So that's a great deal for a fun afternoon out. One other thing, or 2 other things, our summer music series. We are super excited about what we have coming this summer for you guys. July Fest is going to be Saturday, July 13th, and we're starting a little earlier this year. We're starting at 4 o'clock, and it'll be from 4 to 6. This week, we've actually had 2 new food trucks sign on. So we will have Crepe Royale and Nibbles and Noms coming back, but adding to that is Hot Z's, which we had 2 years ago that does burgers. And then we just had Wild Bill's Barbecue from Waterbury sign on to bring some barbecue. We also have Great Cake Bakery for dessert and Peter Doda's ice cream truck. So come with a great appetite, bring a lot of friends. It's going to be a fun time. And our band is Too Blue. They're a local bluegrass band with bluegrass swing out of Connecticut and the Hudson Valley. So a local band area. Taste of Cornwall, August 10th. Again, starting a little earlier, 4 to 7. And our band is Grain Thief. National Iron Bank has signed on as our title sponsor, and obviously there's room if anybody else would like to. We will be reaching out for sponsorships this month. We would like to get started a little earlier so we can put this out and get a lot of advertisements for our sponsors. So if you are a business in Cornwall, be looking for an email from myself or from Jen. And whoo, that is a lot, and it is too much to keep track of. So we have done something for you to help out. In your Chronicle this month, there is a flyer. The front half talks about our community meals, when we have lunch, breakfast, social hour, which ones you need to RSVP for, and all that information. Turn it over on the back, and there is our calendar for the year, and that carries through to December. We have not set our date yet for our Santa Grinch event, but we do have some new fun events, and we are moving our chili cook-off this year to be a standalone event out of Halloween. There's a lot of changes and a new addition, so I encourage you to look at your Chronicle and check that out. It also has our meeting dates. So if you would like to attend our meeting, they're hybrid here in the library, and we do welcome comments. So that is a lot from Park and Rec.
That is a lot. You are busy.
We are busy. And then just on a personal note, my husband, Chris Mullins, and I are starting back with Produce to the People again this season. So as we get through this wintry spring section, we will get the nice spring. As you're planting your gardens, please think about planting extra for our food banks. We all get those 6-packs, maybe only want 3 of those plants. Please plant the other 3 and know that we will come pick up any extra produce you have and deliver it to food banks. Thanks to Backyard Program last year here in Cornwall, as well as a few farm donors and some work with the food rescue. Produce to the People delivered nearly 4,000 pounds of produce. And that is only counting our produce weight from July through October. August through October. June and July, we did not weigh our stuff, but we delivered over 200 bags of lettuce in that time frame. So if everybody planted a little extra, imagine what you could do for us and for all the people in the northwest corner. So please keep Produce to the People in mind. Thank you.
Awesome, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, anything else? Okay. Oh, I got the little hearts up there, very nice right now. Okay, anyway, thank you all for coming, a lot going on. And stay tuned, we'll see you soon.